told them I don't know. I told them there was two possibilities. Possibly it could be invisible sometimes. If this creature could exist, the creature is not known to man. It is not a man. I'm sure it is not a man. Sometimes you see such things, deformation of people's faces and their bodies, but this was not a man. I am sure it was a creature. So if it was a creature, possibly it could be invisible as well. The other possibility, the more worrying one that I wish I hadn't have said, I should have kept with the invisibility. They could have believed that. They were just children. They wouldn't know. They've seen such things on television, read them in books about invisibility. They would have believed it. I didn't need to tell them the rest, but my self-pride, my ego took ahead of me. Maybe, truthfully, inside, I wanted to get it out. I wanted to tell somebody else. And children were the perfect people I could tell because they would believe what I said and wouldn't question it and wouldn't think that I was mad or stupid. But perhaps their innocence I took advantage of. I told them that I believed that possibly this Baba, this creature, this unknown thing, could walk through walls. Change its mass, I don't know how it would do it. Mold itself into the wood and then mold itself back out. I don't know how it did it. But there were times when I went in the shed and it wasn't there. I know it wasn't there. I know it wasn't invisible. I couldn't feel it. I couldn't sense it. You can feel these things. Even now when I'm sitting over here with the children, I could feel it was inside, and by looking through the window I could see it. Danger you can feel. I don't know how, but you can. Something in the mind that we haven't found out yet. So many things in the mind we don't know. And maybe this creature was here all around us, and for some reason my mind had become perceptive of it. And the children, because they were innocent, were as well, because it was magical. But I have no knowledge whether all children could see it or whether these children could see it, because I explained it to them. To be honest, they never did see it. But they believed me. And so I told them that sometimes I go in the shed and it's not there. It's empty. That means it's escaped. It means it can get out whenever it wants. It means that log in front there that's now why that creature is in there, as I know, is not holding it in. So why does it stay? Why doesn't it come out? What dangers are there within that creature? Maybe there are none. Maybe it is friendly. Why should we think something that is not like us to be evil, to be determined to kill us? Maybe that's just the human mind, the way we're brought up to fear the unknown. But it can get out at any time if it wants. It could get out now. Maybe it only gets out at certain times at night. But when I went in, it wasn't there. And this made the children even more scared, because they knew why we sat here. They thought that the lock was on the shed, that I was with them, that I could protect them. But by telling them that, I scared them even more, because they knew the creature could come out at any time. There was nothing I could do. That lock wouldn't stop the creature from getting out, because it could, because it had. It could just walk out there. There was no chance that I'd left the door unlocked, because I had come sometimes when the door was still locked and the shed was in one piece, and I had opened the lock and found the creature not inside. So it was not my mistake. The creature could get through that wooden beam, through those windows, through that shed, and come straight for us and attack us. And I could feel the fear in the children as they realized that we're not safe, that I could not save them, that their guardian, their uncle, could not stop this thing from coming out and standing right in front of them and doing whatever it so pleased. And then, as I stared at them, trying to explain this to them, trying to make them not fear it, trying to tell them that it only came out when there was no one else around, but I didn't know that was true. Okay, so the times when I did see it out was when I wasn't around, but I didn't know that, not for sure. So as I told them, staring straight at their face, a noise again inside. We all heard it this time, and so we all closely went up. I couldn't let them see. I stood them further apart. I got closer to the glass window that was murky, and looked through. And as I did, it jumped up straight for me. They heard the noise that the shed rattled as it made a bang. It was probably its big foot standing up as it stood straight in front of me. I jumped back. I fell on the floor. The children screamed. They started to run off. What was I to do? What was I to do? I didn't know what time their parents would be back. I couldn't leave this within their mind. But they had heard the sound. They had heard the bubba waking up, moving about. What could I say had happened? I had to make a resolution as quickly as possible. We came back. I knew I couldn't tell them then. They were too afraid. I brought them back. They wanted to come back. It was the child inside them. Maybe they thought I was still pretending. So they wanted to come back, and they kept asking me, is it real? Am I pretending? So I lied. What else could I possibly do? Their parents would come. They would tell them what I'd done. They had told them that. If they had told them, then they would have thought I was mad. Or they would have said how irresponsible I was for telling them that there was a creature in there if they had actually believed me and seen it. These children would be scarred for life, so what else could I do but to tell them a lie, like every parent does, when it can't result to the truth, when it wants more time before giving them the real answer. I told them I was pretending, I was making it up. It's just a story, there's nothing in there. But they were inquisitive, they were clever, they were bright. They realized they had heard the sound, they'd seen the fear in my eyes, so they asked me about that. I said it was pretending, probably something just fell over inside, the lawnmower. But then they said there's no grass. There's no grass, or what lawnmower would you have inside? I said there was grass before. Or maybe it was the ladders, I don't know, it was some noise. I didn't see anything inside, I was just pretending, make-believe. It was just a story, it wasn't real. You don't need to worry, it wasn't real. Slowly, I went through all the events. I knew I would have to recount every single moment to them and make them at ease so that they could believe me and they could go away from this house, from this shed, and not believe in the fear of this baba, this creature that I alone have to do. And so I convinced them that we were playing. I brought them back to the shed, made them sit here as we sat here now, as this table is here, as these chairs are here, we all sat together, and the baba did not make a noise. So my story was convincing. It was a lie. I told them the bang had been made when I had slapped the shed door as I had got close up to it. The reason I told them that I didn't let the children come to the glass windows so they could not see the creature for themselves, because it wasn't there. And so it gave me access to be able to make these noises without them noticing. And they believed me. And we sat here nicely until their parents came, and they ran into their arms, and they said how much fun they'd had with Uncle. And they even told them about the baba and the creature, and the parents laughed at the jokes that I had, the tale that I had woven over their dreamlike eyes. And they went, and I was left alone with this shed. You know, when you say something to someone, however untrue you believe it to be, you know the truth inside. But when you say some things, in your mind you start to question what exactly is real and not. And so, having told those children, I thought maybe I'd imagined it as well. How can it possibly be true? I remember the reaction of the parents as they told them the story of the baba inside the shed, and they had laughed. So to believe it would mean that I was mad, but I couldn't be. So I questioned myself whether indeed there was anything inside that shed. So what did I do? I went outside, and I walked up slowly towards the shed. I had to look inside to see whether indeed there was really anything in there. But how could a man sleep at night if there was something unknown in the dark? So I stood by the shed, by the murky window, and I prepared myself, and I looked inside the shed.